Hello, everyone. I'm Noor Mardam, Communications Associate at Mentor Arabia, host of ISSUP Lebanon chapter. First of all, I would like to thank you for joining us. We are pleased to have Anthony Abi Zeid with us in today's webinar entitled Development and Implementing of Prevention Programs with Youth. Anthony is the head of programs Youth and Capacity Development at Mentor Arabia, and he is also the National Chapter Coordinator of ISSUP Lebanon. He has more than 7 years of experience in capacity building, project management, and team leading. He has been committed for more than 14 years to voluntary work in several NGOs, mainly focusing on empowerment, prevention, relief, and support for vulnerable individuals. Working in the humanitarian field has been his passion since his adolescence. His milestone started when he joined the Lebanese Red Cross as a volunteer. This step led him voluntarily to the person he is today, the backbone of his career. And he holds a master's degree in management and a bachelor's degree in law studies from the Lebanese University. In this webinar, Anthony will highlight evidence-based approaches for prevention programs targeting youth and adolescents, in addition to focusing on practical examples from successful activities developed and implemented by Mentor Arabia. We will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, so please submit your questions in the questions box. Anthony, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Noor, for this introduction, and let's start our session. Today, our session, the outline of our session we'll have an introduction about the topic. We'll talk a little bit about the international standards on drug prevention. We're specifically focusing on youth prevention, evidence-based versus evidence-informed, which will allow us to go deeply and talk about 4Z program, which is an evidence-informed program developed by Mentor Arabia. We'll talk as well about a small example from an evidence-based prevention program, which is Unplugged. We'll be talking about interactive learning and traditional learning. We'll talk a little bit about facilitation tools and some activities from 4Z and how we develop them. The title of our session is Development and Implementation of Prevention Programs with Youth, and I will focus today on practical examples. We'll not be talking a lot about theories. We'll focus more on practical examples. A small introduction. Today, our session will be talking about practical tools and examples that you may use while developing and implementing programs with youth. Let's start by highlighting on the international standard on drug prevention, which is, I can say, our Bible in prevention. Prevention strategies based on scientific evidence, working with families, schools, and communities can ensure that children and youth, especially the most marginalized and poor, grow and stay healthy and safe into adulthood and old age. The general aim of drug prevention is the healthy and safe development of children and youth to realize their talents and potential, becoming contributing members of their community and society. Effective drug prevention contributes significantly to the positive engagement of children, youth, and adults with their families, schools, workplace, and community. As you see here, we have in the universal and selective prevention. Universal prevention is when we are targeting general population. However, the selective is when we target an audience at high risk or at risk. Here you can see that on a school-based prevention, education based on personal and social skills and social influence have a great impact, 3 stars, on early adolescents and on adolescents. And at the community level, the community-based multi-component initiatives has as well 3 stars at the early adolescents, and adulthood levels. Let's talk a little bit about an example on evidence-based, and we'll make another example on evidence-informed, and we will see to the two examples versus each other, how they make. Evidence-based and evidence-informed practices and programs can be found in multiple fields. Such programs and practices take several shapes and forms. Following strict guidelines and rules, they are written and conducted with the public in mind. Some are educational and others are preventive. And today we will see two from our programs who are in the same time educational and preventive. The first example that at Mentor Arabia we are always proud of and we talk about, which is Unplugged. Unplugged is a program, is an international program developed by EUDAP and UNODC. And Mentor Arabia adapted this program for the Arab region and implemented this program in several countries like Jordan, Palestine, Sultanate of Oman, and Lebanon. Unplugged program is a prime example of evidence-based prevention and refers to prevention programs, strategies, and policies that have been rigorously tested under research conditions and found to be effective in changing adolescent 12 to 14 years drug use behavior and attitude. Based on the cognitive social impact model, the European cooperation part of EUDAP and UNODC, they were the developers of this program, and this program was adapted to the Arabic language and not only to the language, to the culture of the Arab countries where we implemented this program that we mentioned before. Highlighting on something that is very important, my last thing that is theoretical is the blessing of the Ministry of Education and Higher Education. This blessing is super important, but we don't have always the luxury to have this blessing. And that's why once we have this blessing, we always go to evidence-based program where we are able to train people on this program, and by the authority of the ministry will be able to conduct the activities of this program in all schools on a national level. And that's what we did, for example, in Jordan and Sultanate of Oman and Palestine, because schools are the best forum for the prevention of alcohol, drug, and tobacco consumption. Reaching a significant number of students each year, school staff can target young people at an early age before they have formed an attitude of behavior towards smoking. It's the best place to target your audience at school level, because you will have them in a very good setting and you will be able to reach a lot of people, a huge number of people. The educational curriculum can form part of an integrated preventive approach, and that's why we work on educational curriculums. We provide regular and effective follow-up in terms of duration and depth to reach the largest possible number of young people. For example, in Jordan, Unplugged was able to reach all the official schools and all the students who are aged between 12 and 14 in official schools. Why 4Z and how we developed this program? Several requests were received at Mentor Arabia from different public and private schools, and as well local NGOs in Lebanon. We started the development of the sessions based on the need highlighted in the request that we found in from the request coming to Mentor Arabia. And that's why we developed our session to make an impact answering the needs that we had in our community, and specifically at the beginning it was at the school level. For the program, it's an evidence-informed program. This program utilizes the best available research and practice knowledge to guide program design and implementation towards preventing youth from drug use and risky behaviors. The aim of the program is to strengthen adolescent and youth protection capacities through the implementation of life skills empowerment and risky behaviors prevention activities. Active learning and participatory training styles are used in all delivered sessions. Key messages are disseminated through interactive and engaging activities such as role play, teamwork, discussion, quizzes, drawings, art exhibitions, challenge, and others. And today, I will be providing you with our secret recipes that we always use while developing program. I believe that you will have like secret recipes that I'm super proud today to share with you, because these sessions, these activities took a lot of time to be developed by our team. This program was implemented first in Lebanon, but as 4Z is a flexible evidence-informed program, we were able to amend on this program and adjust and add on the sessions of this program to be able to answer the need coming from Jordan. And we were able to create the fruit of this amendment was Youth Academy program, a program that we implemented in Jordan. The factors that were considered when we developed 4Z were strong theoretical and research background, clear theory of change to explain how it will achieve the intended outcomes, evidence-based intervention or practices, program manual and documentation so it can be replicated, the qualified facilitator that we selected to be trainer to conduct the activities, and we created an M&E tools, a program evaluation to determine if this program was successful or not. The program consists from 14 sessions: self-esteem, decision-making, refusal skills, drugs awareness, time management, social media awareness, communication skills, coping skills, bullying, addiction, empathy and positivity, goal setting, conflict resolution, and group dynamics. How we selected these sessions? These sessions were selected based on the need coming from the field, and as well we used the socio-ecological framework, where we started from the personal to the interpersonal to the community level. The personal level is from the self-esteem session, decision-making session, refusal skill session, time management session. Then the interpersonal level, where we have a relationship between two people, the communication skills, and the coping skill when you have to cope with something coming from the outside. Then we have the community level with the empathy, goal set, the conflict resolution, group dynamics, and the empathy and goal setting were from the interpersonal part. The outcome of this program, based on the result that we had, is increased number of youth capable of making sound decisions, national volunteers that have their capacities built and skills enhanced to lead the program at the local level, network of empowered, capable, and skilled volunteers is developed, attitudes, skills, and knowledge of school students on risky behavior and drugs was enhanced, prevention is increased and change in favor of more preventive behaviors. Let's talk a little bit on our style now, which is the interactive learning. We use always the interactive learning because it plays a vital role in enhancing education, getting students to be more involved in learning, widens their horizon, and empowers them better for the future. Technology will be undoubtedly continue to evolve, and it's essential to adjust our classroom style to align with its advancement. And that's why we use the interactive learning style, because I will show you how the interactive learning style is looks versus the lecture learning style. And the lecture learning style, it's a one-way interaction. However, in the interactive learning, it is two-way interaction. And the lecture learning, information presented by the teachers in a presentation manner. In the interactive learning style, participants build their own definition of the presented information. The delivery of the information is direct in the lecture style. However, it is in the interactive learning, the participants take an active role in building their knowledge. And when we are talking about skills and we want to change in the behavior, change in the attitude, people should practice the skills that we are trying to learn them, and they have to take an active learning role in building their knowledge. Because if they don't do this, if we just provide them with the information, they will not be able to understand it well and to believe in its importance. Students are handed information in the lecture learning. However, the participants are engaged in the learning process. In the lecture learning involves low inclusivity, and the teacher is assumed to be the master of the subject. However, in the interactive learning, we involves high inclusivity, and the facilitators play the role of a co-learner. Because when we are talking about interactive learning, what we do is we train people on how to implement the program. They don't have to be master of the subject. They just have to be present in the trainings and benefit from the trainings to be good facilitators, empowered to implement these activities and be prepared for all the situations that they may be in during the implementation of the program. In the lecture learning, the students receive no feedback from the teacher. However, there is frequent feedback between the facilitator and the participant in the interactive learning. The environment is typically teacher focused. However, the environment is one of student-centered learning in the interactive learning, because we focus on the students and we focus to have the information and the beliefs coming from the participants, not delivered by us by providing just the info without doing any interaction or activities. What are the foundation for choosing facilitation tools and techniques? And we will go and list some facilitation tool and techniques. First, the objective of the activity. We should see always the time for the activity, the available materials, the characteristics of the target audience, the qualities and experience of the facilitator, and the place. And based on all these factors, we choose what we'll be doing, either group work, role play, case study, whatever. We'll just list now the facilitation tools, as we will not be able to cover them in depth, but I will provide you with example on each one. You can use role plays, group discussion, group work, brainstorming. You can do some projection, but we do not recommend to do this always. We just recommend to use it for like 10% of the session, not more of the time of the session. And as well, we support use of arts and crafts, because always when people experiment with the arts, they will learn more. And this was proven during our session and experience with the students and with the youth. The personal reflection, this is very important, but as well it is very sensitive, because when someone needs to reflect on himself in front of a group of people, a group of peers, he may see that this is not that easy, because I want to talk about myself and reflect from the activity on myself, but I don't know about the reaction of my peers in the classroom, or I don't know what will be their opinion about my beliefs. And this is very important to be taken very sensitively, because this is very sensitive. We'll start with the first session, which is talking about self-esteem. In this session, as you know, this is I believe that this is the foundation of all the life skills. This is one of the most important skills that you may have, you may tackle when you start a prevention program. For this session, we decided to use 3 main tools. It's a long session where you will have the objective of the session, the listing of all the activities, and in the manual you will know how to implement each activity. We decided to use a video to introduce this, to start by the definition of self-esteem. The video is about a young man who is bullied by others, and during his journey someone supported him to overcome the challenge that he is living. And when this young guy was supported by others, he saw that, okay, maybe if I support others, this will reflect on myself, on myself as well. And from here we deduce the definition of self-esteem, and we show in this video how you can be bullied, not supported, then someone comes and support you, then you will be able to raise your self-esteem. And during your journey, when you meet someone, you will be able to support him to raise as well his or her self-esteem. We use the card or flip chart to deduce the qualities of person with high self-esteem and low self-esteem. Why we use cards? We use cards when we have, this program is targeting the youth and adolescents who are aged between 12 and 17 years old. And once we have the age group 12 to 14, we prefer to use the cards. We distribute the cards where you will find qualities of people with high self-esteem and qualities with people of low self-esteem, where they have just to extract the high self-esteem cards and the low self-esteem cards. But for the age groups who are between 15 and 17, we prefer to provide them with flip chart. Flip chart is a big white paper and markers where they write the qualities that they see that these are the qualities of high self-esteem and the other of low self-esteem characteristic. In both activities we do like sorting, but we prefer to provide the cards for the younger age, for the group of 12 to 14, than for the group of 15, 17. We prefer to provide them with a white paper where they have their freedom to express and see for them what are these qualities. However, the jar here, it's our last activity in this this session, and this jar is the story of the Japanese pottery art, which is called kintsugi, where they repair broken pottery by mending the areas of breakage with gold, which represents our challenges and failures that are turned into valuable milestones. And I believe that when you link your key messages to an art or something colorful and something that you will always remember when you will always remember the example, I believe that this may keep the idea and the information that we want to provide for the children and for the youth a longer time. The second session is a decision-making session where we do provide many activities in this session, but I want to highlight in one activity which is very important, which is the case study activity, where you have a group work. In this activity, we provide 3 cases. These 3 cases are provided, I handed to the participants, divided into groups, and these groups are chosen randomly. You don't have to always group the clique in the class together. You just have to choose the participants randomly and use different techniques for dividing the groups. And here we provide 3 scenarios that we live in our community. The first one is for a girl who is bullied at the school, and she's bullied based on her body image, and she don't want to go anymore to this schools, and she decided to be isolated. And here you can see we have different risky behaviors coming in the same case, and a case who is faced in our community. And before providing the case studies, we provide for the participants the steps of decision making, where they just go and put themselves in the shoes of this girl or the main characters in our next stories. And then they have to decide what is the problem, what are the information that they can grab from this story, what are the solutions that can be chosen for this case, and what they decided to do, which was their preferred option, how they implemented it, how they evaluated, and at the end how the conclusion that they will have, the result that they had at the end. The second story is a boy who wants always to have friends older than him, and due to this relationship with these people, he started smoking, and he started to have bad behavior with his peers. And here as well, the participants go and start the case to take the right decision that should be taken. And the third one is a boy who spent his time drawing, and he is bullied by his colleague due to his upload of these drawings on his social media account. He was bullied, cyber bullied, and bullied in the classroom. And due to the case that happened with him, he decided to delete all his social media accounts. And here as well, the participant, they have to decide what is the best decision that should be taken by this young boy, and if they were in his place, what they had to do. And a lot of time when we implement these activities, we see and we hear from the participant that effectively they are facing these challenges. And in this way, we are not going into reflecting on themselves. They are just implementing their decision-making steps on other stories, but between themselves, they just reflect on themselves. The third session is refusal skills. And in this session, we provide different scenarios. And these scenarios are provided into role plays where the participants should, we select participants to present a role play voluntarily. And the role plays has different scenarios. And after these scenarios, we promote and we provide for the participants the 5 ways to say no. In the first scenario, we let the participant present the written scenario in a way where they accept what they are offered by other, and in this scenario, they are offered a cigarette, and they accepted it. However, in the second scenario, they go and implement the 5 steps of saying no, and they refuse to accept this cigarette. In the next session, we have the drugs session. And here you will see the card. We do have different types of drugs where they are printed on cards, and each card are divided into 2. The card with the box of cigarette is the cover, and the second part is the tobacco, the name of the drug, and on the second card, we will have the effect of this drug. Then the participants will go and do a competition between each others where they have to exchange cards in order to have the full picture with the full information on each drug. And here we provide the effect of the drug on all levels: physical, psychological, social, on all levels. We'll go to a life skills session again, which is time management. In this session, we have characters, and we do a puppet show. In the puppet show, we have the monkey. It's called Taimum, which is the name is coming from time. And we have a panic monster, and we have us, a boy and girl, which is us, and we have this wheel, which is the wheel of our life, where we present that when we want to take a decision. For example, I have an exam next week, and I decided to go and sit on the wheel of my life, and now I decided to be here and I want to study for my exam. Then Taimum, which represents in this puppet show, the monkey represents in this puppet show the easy and fun activities that we do, and he come to us and put us aside and take the lead on our wheel of life, and we started to go and do other stuff, like I want to go and play some PlayStation, then I will come back to work to study. I will go with friends to study, then I go there and I just bring some tea or Coke or Pepsi or whatever to drink. Then here we introduce for the participant the procrastination cycle, and then the panic monster comes to us at the end of this cycle and before one day before our exam, and here we start panicking, and here starts the stress and the anger, where we bring all our books and we start doing white nights. In French we called it white nights, where we sit and study for like more than 48 hours or 24 hours in order to trying to recap what we missed, and we start learning just last time. And as well, we provide the participants with a worksheet where they have to collect the information about their time, how it is spent, and here the participant, they all go out of the number, because in this activity our total amount of hours should be equal to our total amount of hours in the week. And most of the time the participant, they don't know that they have to reach this total amount of hours, then they go even they double the amount, or they have less the amount of the hours that they have in the week. It's something that we cannot change, and here they have to redo another assessment, another worksheet based on the RACT strategy, which is record, analyze, and change. Here we recorded our time, how it is spent based on each activity from the activities that we have during the week. Then they have to analyze how they are spending their time and where. Then they have at the end to analyze, and they have to change, because they have to specify the amount of hours that they want to put on each activity. The first, the next session is the social media session. In this session, we provide a video where the participants see a video of people passing a ball, where they have to collect the number of passes that they have that they see in the video. But in this video, you will not be able to see from the first time that we had an animal passing between the player who were passing the balls, and you were not able to see this person. And this is the same effect of the social media, where the social media provides you with messages that it's not something that you decided to see, but you will be given these messages in an unconscious way, because the social media is always trying to provide you with some message. But in the same time, we do the cards game, which is imagine the future activity. This activity, we provide people with different scenarios. A scenario where all the world will be relying on social media, and another example where all the world has no social media anymore, and other examples where we have the balance. And people always go to select the balance, having a balance in our life, and social media not to be influencing all the activities that we have in our life and our life itself. And here is the importance to say that we can use the social media for good causes, and we can use the social media for bad causes. But the importance is to know what we want to see on social media and what we want to present on social media, and put ourselves in the middle. In the next session, I will provide you with some examples from activities that we provide in the communication skills session. To introduce the non-verbal communication, we do an activity of miming where we provide the name of songs, and the groups should compete, and with miming they have to present the song. And here most of the students, they are not able to identify the song, and this is the importance of this activity, because sometimes if we just rely on our non-verbal without our verbal, sometimes we may receive the message, but a lot of time will not be able to receive the message. And for the verbal communication, we provide the participants with a maze, one filled and another one that should be filled, and we put the participants back on back. They are not able to see each other, and one of the participants will have the one who is correct, the maze who is correct, and he has to transmit the message for the other student, and the other students try to finish the maze and make it correct. And here we provide them with just 1 minute to finish this activity, and most of the time the participants are not able to finish. And here as well, we want to tell the participant the importance of having the verbal and the non-verbal being together. And for introducing this to the participants, we do a puzzle game where we cut this Taimum monkey, we cut it into 9 pieces, and the yellow color, the blue, the purple, and the green, each color is divided for 4 groups, and these 4 groups compete between themselves, and the pieces that each one of the group will have will be like the same, because they have to exchange it with others to be able to do the full image for the monkey. And here is the importance of this activity, because the participants will be able to use their body language and their verbal communication in order to have a happy ending and a good result at the end. The coping skills session, we provide for the participants a bingo activity. It's an activity very well known, where we put negative coping mechanisms and positive coping examples, and the participants should pick from them, and at the end, based on the numbers that we provide, and the one who has an horizontal or vertical line, he has to scream bingo. And after this activity, we go on each example that was provided on this bingo, and we talk about it, because you know very well that at the age of youth, people has a lot of negative coping mechanisms that they can rely on, but we want to provide and provide and have like positive examples and positive coping mechanism to be highlighted for these youth. We have as well the transit challenges and the limiting challenges, because we want to highlight for these participants that we will face challenges in our life. It is normal to face challenges in our life, and sometimes we may have challenges that will be with us for our whole life, and sometimes we'll have like not permanent challenges, just temporary challenges, and we have to cope with these limitations in a positive way. And at the end, we provide the participant with an example, a case about one student, or like it's from their age. She loves someone, and they are not together anymore, and the guy left the girl, and they have to write a letter for the girl telling her what to do and how to cope positively with the situation that she had. The bullying session, we have the yellow, red, yellow, green traffic lights, where we provide the students with cartoon colors, and they have to, we provide them with examples of bullying, and they have to raise the flag that they see is appropriate for the example that we are providing. For example, when we provide physical violence as an example of bullying, they have to raise the flag, and usually it is a red. And sarcasm, they have to raise the flag, and sometimes it is yellow or red or green based on the person. We show them as well a bullying video where we have two victims in this video. One is the bully and the other one is the victim of bullying. And at the end of the story, we'll see in this video that both of them, they have challenges, they have problems at home. And we show for the participant that the bully, he is a bully, as sure, but he is a victim as well, and the victim sure is a victim. And we have, because it's a very hot topic, the bullying topic, we have a debate monitored and directed by the facilitator at the end of this session. For the addiction session, we wanted to keep it a very fresh activity, something up to date, and we did a board game where two groups are competing. They will have, each group will have a number of cards. They will have chance cards, life skills cards, risky behaviors cards, and question cards. Question cards are from the session that they had already. Risky behavior, and if they answer positively to a question card, they will receive a +1 point. If they choose a risky behavior card, they will get a -1 point. If they choose a life skills card, they will get a +1 point. And if they choose the chance card, we have to see what is inside this card. They will either get a +1 or -1. And for both groups, all the cards has the same cover color, and the participants will not able to see the color. And this way, they don't know what is the card about. And each group, if you see the part of the 4 and the part of the Z will be for a group, and the mentor and inspire part will be for group A, and the empower and prevent part will be for group B, and they will compete. Something really important about the empathy card, empathy session. In this session, we used to implement previously a stereotyping activity where we provide the participants with a name of a country. For example, something like, because we have in Lebanon, we are close to Syria. For example, Syria. And in this activity, when we say Syria, people in the classroom have to suggest names or say whatever they have in mind, first in mind when you say Syria. And sometimes we have a lot of negative words, or Lebanon or Palestine or France or whatever. And in the countries where they are poor countries, we have negative words, and in the countries where they are rich countries, we have positive words, and this may reflect negatively on the session. And that's why we transformed this activity and we created this board game, which is a game divided into countries, where each country has we will have 4 information about each country, 2 positive and 2 negative. For example, in Lebanon, we have the first law school in the world. And even the Lebanese, they don't know about this information. We just know negative things about our country. For example, that the electricity is not good. In this way, we will provide two positive info about each of the country present here. And at the end of the session, we will reflect on the participant that each one of us has positive behaviors and positive attitudes, but sometimes we may have challenges, we may do negative things, and we should understand that we have to put ourselves in the shoes of others, and we have to have high empathy for others. In the goal setting, we do an activity like darts to introduce the SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound goals, and we support the participants to write their goals. In the conflict resolution session, we have the X and Y, win as much as you can. It's an activity that you can find it online. This activity, 4 groups are competing each other, where we support in this activity to create a small conflict between the participants, to be able to introduce in our video how we can positively compromise or collaborate and have positive win-win conflict resolution strategy. And we provide people with example about avoiding, competing, accommodating, compromising, and collaborating, and we support them and we promote a win-win and for each of these cases. And the last session, which is the group dynamic, we do a cards game and broken squares activities, where we introduce, and the first one is an individual activity where we have cards from 1 to 15. The participants will see the activity, the cards on the table. They don't know which card is the 1, which card is the 15, and they are not put by order, and the participants should put them in order from 1 to 15 and with a timer. And in the second activity, it is an individual activity where we want to introduce to the participant that sometimes if you do your work individually, you may have a positive end, but when you are supported by others, you will have a better result. And in the broken square, we divide the participant into group where we do this activity to support the participants to see that each one of the group should finish his square. However, if they do not all finish their squares, they will not win, and each one should communicate non-verbally with all the participants in the group in order to finalize his square. I hope that I was able to support you with some activities, some practical examples for activities to be implemented with youth, and the topics that we talked about. I hope that we are able to make some difference in our beneficiaries. Thank you so much for your time. And now I'm open for receiving the questions from Noor.
Thank you, Anthony. We are a bit restricted with time. We received many questions. We'll try to ask them all. We'll try our best. Anthony, the first question is, what does 4Z stand for?
Okay, 4Z is for Generation Z, and has 4 pillars: mentor, inspire, prevent, and the first one I'll provide you with. But 4Z is for Generation Z, because for us, Generation Z is the generation who is born after the 1990, and this generation has specific characteristics, and these characteristics are very similar, and we try to have all the examples in our program tackling these beneficiaries, and that's why we developed 4Z.
Okay. The second question is, the program 4Z implemented by school teacher or your staff going to school for this program?
Both. It's by school teachers and by our staff, by our volunteers as well. We have a volunteers facilitator who go to schools and implement this program. It's just anyone who is trained on this program can implement this program.
Okay, now that you mentioned facilitator, we have a question. What is, based on your experience, what is the most important quality of a facilitator in such a program?
The facilitator in such program should be someone who loves the interactive style, who believes in the interactive style, someone who is able to listen and understand very well the ideas and the beliefs of youth, and someone who can be a good influencer on the youth, because your attitude in the session, your acceptance for their ideas, and the way how you provide your feedback is really important for the youth, because you will be with them not only for one single time, you will be with them for more than 14 times. For example, in our program, we have to be present for 14 sessions, and you have to build this trusty relationship between you and the participant. They should trust you. You have to provide the right feedback. You have to be very flexible with them, in the same time being very professional, and provide them with the ideas they want to listen, but in the same time they are the right ideas that will make them changing their attitudes and changing their knowledge, and some misconceptions sometimes about drugs or other topics.
Okay. What obstacles did you encounter when implementing the program in your area?
We always encounter a lot of problems. One of them, which is the funding to implement the program, because when you want to build the capacities of volunteers or the schools, this costs a lot of money and the materials that you should provide for these facilitators to go to schools. And for me, we faced a challenge, which is the challenge that was solved by Unplugged. When you have the blessing of the Ministry of Education, this will support you in the implementation. You will not have a lot of obstacles. You will not have like challenges to enter any school, because you have the blessing of the ministry. You are allowed to go into the schools. However, when you develop an evidence-informed program and you want to promote it to schools, sometimes the schools, they don't have the flexibility and the timing to provide you for similar session, extracurricular activities. However, when you have the blessing of the ministry, khalas, you are the school are like between brackets obliged to implement the program, and in this way you will be able to reach a huge number of beneficiaries.
Okay, I will move on to the last question before we wrap up the session. What strategies did you use to get schools, parents, participants, and other community partners to understand the importance of the program?
This is a great question, because what we do before starting any program, we do an orientation session for all the stakeholders, where we invite the stakeholders and we promote our program through an orientation session, where we show the participant in this meeting, in this session, which will be parents, directors of school, teachers, social workers, and all the stakeholders all stakeholders in the schools. And we promote our program. We show the objective of the program. We show how we will reach the program, and sure, we show them as well results from our previous pilots, which were very positive results. And in this way, they believe that they can give us the access to implement this program in their schools.
Thank you, Anthony, for this insightful webinar and understanding evidence-based approaches for prevention programs targeting adolescents and youth, and in learning about innovative techniques to be used in the development and implementation of prevention activities. Anthony, would you like to add anything to the session?
I just want to thank you, Noor, and thank ISSUP. And I want to invite all the participants in this session to follow our social media accounts for Mentor Arabia, for ISSUP Lebanon. And if they want my social media accounts where I provide positivity and some info similar to the ones that I provided today.
And for those who are in Lebanon, please apply for a free membership on ISSUP's website to stay updated with the latest information. And as Anthony mentioned, please follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook to learn about our future activities. Thank you and have a good afternoon.